We are live from that Power Family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio. Place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born a Lot, and we see who we got in the building. Let me just do this with the camera real quick. You know, y'all might have heard this name before. Y'all might have heard this name. Y'all might have heard the Heat Makers. If you listen to anything over the last 20 years that was worth listening to, look at the reason why you listen to it. Okay? There go one half of the reason why you was listening to it.
Appreciate that.
So let's welcome to the show one of the illest producers on the planet and one of the craziest production credit catalog in the universe.
I appreciate it, man.
Brother Rsonist in the building, man. Welcome to the show.
How you doing,
Welcome
my
to
brother?
the show.
Thank you for having me.
Good, man. Hey, it's an honor to be here. Like I was bugging, just going through like interviews, going through like the production credits and all that. Like I was bugged. Like, you know, we don't always get a chance to have the conversations with the producers. Like we hear the joints, you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, but we don't know what it goes into behind, you know, the production story. It's a story all to its own. So, you know, I reached out. I was like, you know, hopefully I could get a few minutes of your time to kind of go through, you know, your journey. You see what I'm saying? Um, I don't I don't think if Kanye ever started rapping, people would ever even paid attention to what he went through. You see what I'm saying? So if you look, you, Blaze, Young Guru, you see what I'm saying? Like the producers who made the soundtrack for the hip hop revolution. You understand what I'm saying? Like crazy. So, you know, uh, how did you get started? You and Thrilla.
Well, originally, I was a DJ. I went to Howard University. I was a DJ, so I was in DC, just DJing. I wasn't even thinking about production. I got kicked out of college, came home. Thrilla had just bought an MPC. He was going back to I think him and his family was going back to Trinidad, and I asked him if I could hold the MP so I could learn how to use it. He let me hold it. I made a couple beats in like I think he was gone for like 5 days. I made a couple of beats, and they were bullshit beats. Don't get me wrong. I ended up selling those beats to a guy by the name of Todd Terry, and I think Todd Terry just saw something in me, and long story short, just ended up buying me about $30,000 to $40,000 worth of equipment. You know what I mean? I just
Wow.
offered meeting me one time, sent it to my mother's crib at the time, and it was just off to the races. You know what I mean? There's a lot more intricacies that go into that story, but I'm giving you the Cliff Note version.
I'm loving that. I want to draw a parallel real quick. So just bear with me. A dude from Jamaica brings us
Yeah, my fault, man. Technical difficulties, but we good. We good now.
it's all good. It's all good.
My fault. So what you saying now?
So I was drawing a parallel.
Mm-hmm.
I said I was drawing a parallel. I said a dude from Jamaica brings us something in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And now today we call it hip hop.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? A DJ from Jamaica, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Brings us something that today we now call hip hop.
Right.
So
Definitely.
we got a circa for at least 20 years ago, a dude from Jamaica. You know what I'm saying?
And we right back at it.
Brings us hip hop again. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, yeah. You know, a dude from Jamaica back there behind me. You understand?
Yeah, I know.
He brought us
I definitely
liberation 100 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So like, it works. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
in the science, and you look at the science of what music is and the importance of it is to our culture. You
yeah,
know, as a people, and you know, the world gleans from our understanding of that science, that sacred science of rhythm and
right,
vibration and tone. You see what I'm saying? And the producer puts this all of these vibrations and tones and sounds together. The inner ear hears and the spirit responds to, like their call and response. You see what I'm saying?
right,
And the MC hears that and tells a story. You see what I'm saying? In
right,
between the tones and the sounds. Craziest shit ever. You see what I'm saying? And the crowd draws near in anticipation to hear and see and feel and respond in rhythm. You see what I'm saying?
right,
And you did this at a time where the South was up here. You know what I'm saying? Like the South was up here. So a resurgence or something, we wasn't hearing none of that. I was overseas. I was in Germany at the time.
right.
So like fiending for some East Coast music. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But when I tell you, like, you know, some of the production credits that you did, some of the beats that you did was crazy. And then I'm doing my research and I stumbled upon this video where you said you almost threw out them say anthem. I was like, yo.
yeah. That was just probably a result of working too much, man. You know, like after a minute, any
Mm,
producer will tell you, like, if you make a lot of beats during a short period of time, your ears almost feel like you're not hearing correctly anymore. You know what I mean? Because the last thing you want to do as an artist, I think, is lie to yourself. So I was in the crib by myself making music, and Dipset Anthem was like the fourth or fifth beat that I made for the day. So, in my head, it was like, yeah, it sounds good, but maybe I'm bugging because I made four other ones I thought sound good. And it wasn't until my
mm.
cousin walked in last minute, right before I hit the power button. He walked in, he was like, yo, that beat that you working on is fire. And I'm like, you fuck with it? He's like, yeah, hell yeah, that's just crazy. And it's Dipset Anthem.
I was overseas in the club. I seen these dudes come in, like the impact that Atlanta had on the world was crazy.
Right.
So everybody came in with the A hats and the grills and all that, said all of the snap and boom, 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 boom. I let them have their time. Like whoever was whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
When that motherfucking DJ put on, dun, 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 you better get the fuck off the dance floor. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you better
Yeah.
get the fuck off the dance, because I'm sliding you if you still on that bitch. I'm gonna pick you up in the air and throw you off the dance floor. Cause that's like my only little window I got. You understand what I'm saying? So the
You know.
cats is going in there.
Uh,
Like that beat was so like that sparked like the war drum. You see what I'm saying? Like that shit outplayed the crunk, everything. You see what I'm saying? Like,
right.
but we was jumping off of shit to get on the dance floor, like jumping over tables and shit. And then you would see the cats with the Dipset hats on in the New York. I was like, man, get the fuck out of here! You just came in here with this Atlanta shit. Like, what are you doing right now? You see what I'm saying? But it was just crazy that a beat could do that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you got like the dream team with you. You see what I'm saying? So it's the beat, and then you hear all of the other contributions. You see what I'm saying? I was just going through the damn production credits, like, damn, Cannabis, Ghostface. You know what I'm saying? Wayne. I'm just going through like, goddamn, like, damn. And you already know the Dipset catalog. You see what I'm saying? But I'm
Right.
like, damn. So how did that whole thing kind of come into fruition with you um, working with Dipset?
And I think it was 2000. I opened up a studio on 57th Street at the time, like 57th and Broadway. I had a studio over there, and Cam and the rest of the Dipset had just got their deal with Def Jam, and I was in. Funny enough, because we didn't meet up in New York, I actually was in North Carolina, and before we went to North Carolina, me and my peoples, I had given a dude by the name of Renee McLean. I had given him some music for Cam because he was managing Cam at the time. And I gave it to him. I didn't really think much of it because, at that point, I didn't really experience any type of wins in the music industry. So I didn't really expect to hear a call back. And then when I'm in North Carolina with my peoples, I get a call back from Cam, actually. He was like, yo, we fuck with that CD. You'll come to Baseline. And we jetted back up to New York, met up with Cam at Baseline like a day later. And he was just basically like, we gave him a CD with, like, I want to say 15 beats on there, so whatever it was, and he ended up picking 9. And we did an extra 2. We did Dipset Anthem later on, and we did I want to say More Than Music, I think was the other one that we did. But we was off of the first CD, we already had 9 locked in, so it was just, once that happened, we was off to the races. It wasn't like, it was just such a short period of time in the way everything happened that I don't even want to paint the picture like this shit took months. That shit took literally like a week. You know what I mean? Like from the time we gave the CD up to the time we was in the studio with Cam was like no more than 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And he was just working ever since.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So was Cam and Dipset like the initial push, like, and how did all of the other ones come? Like, so was that the spark, and then everything else kind of came from that, or did
Yeah,
it go another way?
you know how it is. It's like if you were undrafted basketball player and you go to the league and you bust ass, every team gonna want you the year after that. So what it was I think after we did
Right.
all those records for Dipset, other artists was like, yo, we want music that feels like this. And they knew it was only it's not too many dudes that could make music that has that feel to it. So a lot of artists started reaching out, and I just, I had a plethora of beats, man, so it was never gonna run out. So I just understood that I had to outwork the competition. You know what I mean? I think a lot of producers early in their career, they don't realize that it's really like a rat race. You know what I mean? It's you against every other dude that has the same dream as you. So it's either you're gonna outwork them or you're gonna get lost in the shuffle. And I just decided to try to outwork them.
Damn, that's a whole nother element right there. Like we get like MCs in the blood sport competitive. You know, you're painting a picture of the producer world with the same blood sport. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
wow, that's what I'm saying? Like, wow, wow. That's yeah.
But everything is like that.
Um,
It's not just everything that, I don't care what your profession is. Every profession is like that. Whether they want to admit it or not, every
yeah.
profession is you against the next best person. If it ain't that, then I don't know. Can you name me a profession where you're not competing for your spot?
Nah, definitely not.
Right. So then
Definitely not.
that applies to
Yeah.
everything. I don't care if it could be something that's non-violent, it could be something that's just real laid back, and they still competing. You know what I mean? I watch TV shows all the time where you watching things like people who own, like I just watched a show about people who they're nice with doing things with flowers. They have competitions with that. You understand what I'm saying? Like everything is a competition,
Right.
whether you know it or not. You got to treat life like that, because whether you're, even if you're not competing, somebody's competing with you. So you understand? You can be the naive dude and act like, nah, I'm in a world of my own. I'm not competing with nobody. Of course you are. Of course you are. We all are.
I want to ask about this cannabis joint because this cannabis joint was crazy. Was a crazy favorite to me because I was eight in '97, and then when his first project came out, that shit hurt my soul. You understand
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
on the production, you see what I'm saying? Like it hurt my soul. So when I heard 2000 BC.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh shit, this motherfucking House of Beats." I was like, "Oh shit," you see what I'm saying? So I was like, "Now, like, I'm like, yeah, like it was like the resurrection because he had took a hard fall from his fan base that was
Yeah.
loving his lyricism. You see what I'm saying? Because of the project, like this joint and DMX joint came out in the same year. DMX shit came out first, and that shit was a banger. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
his shit came out. I was hyping it. I'm like, all right. I heard Patriots, and then after that, I was like, the lyrics was still there, but the production for me
What
was
I
like not
what I
not
think
it.
it was
So,
with what I think it was with Cannabis' first album, I think what it was he was still an underground lyricist at the time, and Wyclef, who executive produced the album, was turning into a very successful pop producer. You know what I mean? Like he
mm,
was at that time,
yeah,
he had Fuji's under his belt already, and he was starting to do bigger records for more notable pop artists. And I think he
right,
tried to take the same approach to Cannabis, and he didn't realize that the underground market hangs you for dabbling into a pop world when you're still underground. You know what I mean? And I think he
right,
didn't. I think Wyclef didn't realize the type of backlash Cannabis would get from that album if he didn't keep it 100% authentic underground. You know what I mean? But you live and you
right.
learn. I think it was just it was just two worlds that didn't mesh together at the time. But it is what it is.
Mm. So for the artists in their particular coast,
Mm-hmm.
how adaptable did you have to become, for a down south record versus the East Coast versus the Midwest? You see what I'm saying? Like, how adaptable did you have to become?
I don't. Here's the thing, man. I think a lot of producers get it twisted. They think that if I'm an East Coast producer and I work with a West Coast artist, I kind of got to change my style to fit what they got going on. Or same thing with a down south artist or somebody from Canada or wherever they from. That's the biggest
Hmm.
misconception to me. Once you have your style and your sound, it's kind of, how can I put it, man? It's like same thing. We go back to sports. If there's a point guard that can dribble, he could shoot, he's nice with the passing. He don't gotta necessarily change his style when he goes to a new team. His teammates already understand his skill set. They just got to work with him to make the best magic happen. You understand? Like, I've done a record
Right, right.
with Gucci Man back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, Gucci didn't change his style of work with me. I
Mm,
didn't change my style of work with him. We were
right,
just fans of each other's work, and we said, "All right, cool. This is what I got. This is what you got. We gonna make it work." And the same thing. I did records with Gucci. I did records with um Ti, Ludacris, like, you know what I mean, a plethora of artists where it's not
right,
like I'm not catering to their sound and they're not catering to mine, but we understand what we both bring to the table, and we take it from there. If I try to switch my sound up, why are they working with me then? They're working with me because they like my sound, and the same reason I'm working with them, I
right.
like their style. So I've never asked an artist to change anything, and I would never do that, and I would hope they would never ask me to change my style, because that's the reason why we're working with each other, because we like each other's style and sound.
Mm. So I know you had your successes, and then the periods of the time where work got slow. How did you maintain during those times?
Um, I don't necessarily rely 100% on just selling music to for my income. You know what I mean? As far as there's so many different avenues inside of music that I can get money from, whether it be my personal one-on-one classes, whether it's merchandising, whether it's you know performances where I'm making music live on stage, whatever it is. It's just I don't box myself into depending on the climate of the music industry to be able to eat. You know what I mean? I think a
Mm,
lot of artists do that. I think a lot of artists, if they rap, they make 1,000% off the 1,000% of their money off of rap. If they produce, they make 1,000% of their money off producing. I think you have to find a way to diversify the things that you do inside of the music industry in order to keep you alive when certain things start moving slow. You have 3 or 4 other avenues that you get money from. So, like the younger me would have probably, starved if I wasn't making money off of selling music. But the older me understands that this is a business like every other business, and you got to learn how to, just diversify the things that you do in order to branch out and make more money and not depend on one stream of income.
That's amazing. So like 20 years in the game, you're an institution. You see what I'm saying? Uh,
I mean,
could we talk about keys to success and longevity?
um first things first, I kind of define success different than other people, man. I think success is about relationships. I think a lot of people confuse success with accomplishments. You know what I mean? Like I know a bunch
Mm,
of people that think they're successful because they got money, but that money doesn't mean success. That money just means you got money. You don't have any real relationships. If you have money and you don't have relationships, you're not successful. You know what I mean? Like when I
mm,
say that, I'm saying that to say, let's just say you have kids and one of your kids want to do music, and you can't pick up the phone and call somebody and put your kid in a position where they can kind of, you know, learn from the best or whatever the case is, then you don't really have success. You know what I mean? Like if God forbid anything's happened, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you got a toothache and you can't call a dentist that's gonna come out of his crib to help you or her crib to help you, you're not successful. You know what I mean? Like you have money, yes, you're accomplished, but you're not successful. So my goal in this whole
mm.
music game is to build as many great relationships as I can, hold on to them, and just branch out that way and truly experience success. You know what I mean? Like I'm accomplished. I've been accomplished for years. I've done a lot of things. I've made decent money out of music, so I can't complain on that side. But those are just accomplishments. So if I was telling anybody you want to be successful, don't burn bridges. Don't ruin relationships. Don't put yourself in a position where people don't answer your calls or they don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? Nurture your relationships because in the future they'll all come in handy. The same dude that's an intern working in a company today might fuck around and own a couple companies 15 years from now. But if your relationships
Right.
with him was weak, then you just burnt a bridge and you ruined something that could have potentially been great. So to make a long story short, just nurture your relationships, man. That's true success. Accomplishments come and go. Everybody accomplishes 1 or 2 things in their life, but success is rare. Real success is rare. So just build relationships, man. I think that'll help everything. That'll help your career, your whatever your family wants to do, your friends want. If your relationships are strong, people will respect you and the people around you.
I agree wholeheartedly. You know, in this lane, it's kind of cutthroat. Dealing with media and black media in specific. Uh, everybody plays the numbers game and stuff like that. Like being genuine and being real and having opportunities to hear stories. The story behind the story. Uh, it's a continued motivation for me. You see what I'm saying? Along with establishing good and solid relationships. I got good and solid relationships with people all over the planet. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Because of the genuineness. You see what I'm saying? And the respect. Because we don't all see the same things the same kind of way. So I respect people's perspective. You see what I'm saying? In turn, most of the time they respect mine. You know, so creating opportunities and spaces to hear, lessons learned, to hear, uh, and celebrate. You see what I'm saying? Because today is a celebration day. You see what I'm saying? We thank the creator for the day. You see what I'm saying? We got the day and we season the time with, sharing jewels and sharing gifts and sharing knowledge with, future generation. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's there. Like I think my sons might be silent because they might be watching their daddy doing this interview. You see what I'm saying? They snuck up with you a couple of times with, oh, you had this person on, or blah blah blah, and this whatever. You see what I'm saying? So they learn it what indirectly. So
Right.
yeah, it's crazy. So you mentioned teaching, this craft. Um, are you working with some young people? And if people are interested in working with you and gaining from your exponential wisdom, how could they do that? Is there some
Um.
course where they could go sign up, or do they just
Yeah.
hit you, or how does that work?
If you go to Instagram and hit up IAMMEL, well, I dot AM dot MEL. That's my lawyer. She's handling all the people that sign up, and she's getting them right as far as scheduling and things like that. But yeah, I'm definitely working with a bunch of younger up and coming producers, because I just feel that a lot of producers now, they're kind of real selfish, and they just think about themselves, and they don't really think about when they were coming up and they needed some advice. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here telling you I'm going to teach you how to make a beat. That's not what my course is about. My course is more setting you up for what to expect and helping you kind of skip the line without having to try to figure things out for months by yourself. You know what I mean? But I'm more so getting you ready for what to expect, because a lot of times when you come into this music game, all you see is the bright side of it. You don't really think that, all right, I'm gonna sell a beat and I might get jerked, I might not get enough money, or they might not give me my publishing, or what is publishing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of new producers, they just ready to get out there and sell a beat to their favorite artist, and they think they're gonna be the biggest shit in the world, but they don't understand that you don't even understand what publishing is yet, and that's how you're gonna eat for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So I just try to put things into perspective for them, and kind of teach them that right now, quantity quantity in my head never trumps quality, but at this moment, quantity is king right now. So for a lot of artists that have a lot of music out on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, they can generate money because they're consistently putting out music. And I'm telling a lot of new producers, don't sit around and wait for the perfect placement. Find a dude in your neighborhood that knows how to rap, and he's dedicated and you're dedicated. You guys get together, make music, put it out, generate money. It might not be a lot of money at first, but the more you do it and the more you stay at it, the more the money's gonna build. You
Mm.
understand? So I teach them things like that, where it's more so, because a lot of dudes, once you learn how to make a beat, then what? They don't know what to do next. So I'm telling them what to do next before you even master the art of making a beat. This is what to expect right after that. You understand? So I'm just trying to play my part, man. My methods might be right, they might not be, but I just know they work for me.
Yeah, I think that is epic because cats are getting just thrust out here. You see what I'm saying? And they're getting taken advantage of.
A million percent.
Uh, it's a dirty game. You see what I'm saying? And you know, if you open, you out here open and you do eyed, somebody gonna get you.
We
You
live
see
in
what I'm
a
saying?
we live in a
Like
world of
if you
we live in a world of hype, man, where it's like, if an artist is big enough, he can convince an artist to just give him a beat, no money involved, and yo, I got you. I'm gonna throw you up on my page and I'm gonna shout you out. What? You understand? Like, what are you talking about? You gonna shout me out? I just gave you a beat that could potentially make you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're gonna shout me out?
right,
What are you? But you see, a lot of these newer producers, they'll take that because they're a fan of this artist. So to them, that's like, oh, this is my man. He gonna throw me up. He gonna shout me out. On the backside, he's making 150 grand off of this beat you just gave him, but he just shouted you out, and you're happy.
right,
You understand? We gotta, as producers, as rappers, as singers, whatever we are, we have to get that starstruck groupie mentality out of our brain. This shit is business. You understand? Like, don't be
right,
mad later when you find out 2 years later that you should have made 100,000 off of this, but you got a shout out. Don't be mad
right.
then. You know what I mean? Like, understand what you're dealing with now so that you don't have to be mad later. That's my whole thing. It's like, it's no hard feelings to nobody, but this whole game is business. we're all trying to feed our family. Like the people that I work with, they don't work 9 to 5s. This is their 9 to 5. So you got to cross your T's and dot your I's, man. Like, yeah, I might be a fan of this dude, but at the end of the day, when that contract come in front of my face, it's not about being a fan no more. It's about making sure that everything is right, and I'm gonna have the right amount of money when I'm supposed to get it, and I'm not gonna have to chase you down and beef with you and throw up subs on like we're not doing all of that. So what I'm teaching all of these dudes is handle your business from the gate, or understand what the business is so you can handle it. And it'll just make your future smoother. You won't have to be mad 5 years from now when you find out a dude did you dirty for X amount of dollars. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of things I go through in my class, man. I think they'll appreciate it later on when they realize that a bunch of other artists could have told them this and never did.
So is there a kind of a cycle on when the classes start, how long they go for, or
No, they
something
actually,
like that?
they're one-on-one classes. There's a price on it, which Melissa will fill you in on it. But it's 3 months. I do either a month. I could do it month by month, or we could just do a 3-month package. So there's options for both. You know what I mean? Whichever one works best for whoever's signing up. There's no pressure to do either or, but that's why I gave them the option of 3 months or 1 month. 1 month will be we do it once a week. 3 months we do it once a week for everything, but one month will just be 4 sessions. 3 months obviously is 12 sessions.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's worth the investment. You see what I'm saying? Like it's worth the investment. And I don't see a lot of people doing that. You know, I don't see a lot of people doing that, offering their time.
Nah,
To
most producers
to
just
give
do 1 day. They'll do 1 day. They'll let you
it
come
if
to
you
the
gonna
studio
give
with
it.
them for
You see what
one
I'm saying?
day, and
So,
then pay whatever you got to pay, and it's over.
mm. So are there some experiences from some people that you work with thus far that you could kind of share with us?
As far as what I mean, I work with a ton of artists, a ton of experiences. Like, what do you think? I mean, like, what do you mean?
I mean, like these young producers, like from you know that shift in their mindset, like from versus once they come in, you know, I know they don't leave the same way that they come in. So I was just looking
Nah.
for some of them experiences that you
Oh,
could share.
okay, yeah. Like, there's a young kid that I'm working with. He's about I want to say he's 19 years old, and
Mm,
when he's dope at making beats. He said he has no problem in making beats. My problem with him was I told him that I said, yo, now you have to learn how to monetize what you're doing. Like at the end of the day, you don't want to be in your crib just making beats, and now you got a computer full of beats, but you're not putting nothing out. You're not putting out an instrumental project. You're not putting out projects with your dudes that rap. You're not trying to generate money. So I said to him, I said the worst thing that can happen if you put music out is you make some money. Not saying you make a lot at first, but you'll make something. Every time somebody streams, that's money for you. And if you don't owe nobody no money, then it's all profit for you. So
right.
over the sessions that we had, I was breaking down to him what to do, and every time I'm telling him something, he's doing it. And now he got his first release with him and his homeboy coming out on Friday, and it gave me a good feeling because I feel like number one, he's listening to what I'm telling him, and number two, as he starts to get streams and things start to happen, he'll realize that what I'm telling him is starting to manifest. You know what I mean? And I just think that's beautiful, man, because a lot of
Right.
artists, they feel like I'm an artist. I got to have a manager. I got to have a agent. I got to have this person and that. Like, nobody knows you. Your manager's telling you to
Right.
hold on to your music forever. He's leading you down the wrong road because in his head, he wants you to get a major deal because that's more money for him. When in all
Right.
actuality, you staying independent will make you 20 times more money. You understand? Like,
Right.
that's what I try to tell a lot of young artists, man. It's like, I know it sounds like the storybook thing to have a manager, to have this person, that person. But realistically, if you don't have a career to manage, what do you have a manager for?
That's
If
real.
your career hasn't left the ground, what is he managing? Or she? What is she
Right.
managing? You understand? Like, I just think a lot of newer artists have to think smarter and not harder. It's like, don't think yourself out of something that you're already in. You understand? Like, why am I
Right.
gonna get a manager when I haven't sold a record yet? What the manager is not gonna put shit up online for me. I know how to do this. I know how to rap. I know how to find my own studio time. Why do I need a manager? What are they doing? And when I say that to some people, I think they feel like I'm trying to hate on the manager. I'm not doing that. When you have a career to manage, trust me, you will know. You understand? Like, you know when your career is
Right.
to the point that you can't manage it yourself. But
Right.
again, man, those are the type of things I go through with artists just so they can understand, get a better, like we was talking about earlier, get a better perspective on where they're at.
Yeah. So what's next for you? You know, that you could share with us.
I got I just did a I did 3 tracks on a record with Juelz and Crooked Eye that came out, like, I think it was last month. I got an EP with Currency coming out hopefully in the next couple months. It's done already. I just got to mix it. We working on El Capo 2. That's pretty much done. We just got to put some features on it. Me and Cam doing a project together. What else? I just did a record with AZ for a project he's working on. I did some things with Ross for a new project he's working on. I'm just busy, man. I'm just trying to stay busy. I know I forgot a bunch of people, but I'm just working. Bottom line is I'm working. You know what I mean? I'm doing a bunch of things.
So has this whole pandemic and the current situation uh had has it affected you in any kind of way, business wise, or you still
I mean,
working the same work?
business wise, no. Personally, yes. You know what I mean? Like, I lost one of my closest friends. I lost the aunt. I lost the uncle. Like, with all of this within like a week and a half. You know what I mean? So it definitely affected me. But business wise, no. Like, at the end of the day, if you're in the music industry, unless you rely on renting out a studio to make money, then it shouldn't really affect you. You know what I mean? Because music has been being made digitally, as far as like via internet, for the last 7-8 years, really. As far as like, it's rare that
Right.
artists work in the studio together. I prefer that myself, but it's rare to get it done nowadays unless you're friends with the artist, because a lot of artists, they'll send, it's like, perfect example, I did a record I just did with AZ lives in Jersey. I'm in Queens. We never sat down in the studio to make the music. He made it at his spot, sent me the files, I mixed it. You understand? Like, that's the type of game that's been being played forever with artists and producers. So to answer your question, the pandemic shouldn't stop work as far as the music industry goes, but you know, it kind of threw me back mentally a little bit and emotionally, just because of the things that was going on, and made it hard for me to focus on music. You know what I mean?
Right. My condolences to you and to the families.
Appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, I could kind of hear it when people not in the same room. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like there's certain stuff you can hear. Like, I'm like, you know,
Like, see,
some people it works.
when I did El Capo, we was in the same room for every record. You know what I mean? Like, I produced it in front of him. It wasn't like, that's why I think El Capo, I don't know, man. Maybe I sound biased for saying it because I produced the whole shit, and it was half my album. I just feel like when you sit and produce with somebody, and you kind of help them translate their ideas onto record, it always sounds so much better, man, because the point the message they were trying to convey when they were doing the record. And as a good producer, you should be able to enhance that. But it's hard to do it if you're not in the same room. You don't know what type of mind frame they was in. You don't know how they was feeling when they wrote it. You know what I mean? I just prefer being in the same room. That shit just, it works so much better that way.
Yeah. Some of the greatest records that I ever fell in love with. you can hear they was in the same, like, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like I heard something recently from one of my brothers. I was like, y'all wasn't in the same room. He was like, nah. I was like, I can hear it, because what you want for the vision that you got for the record, you're not gonna get that from a distance. You see what I'm
At
saying?
all.
Like, you know, I need to see somebody crumble up their paper and shit. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
And
I
listen,
couldn't have been in the studio to hit that, on the joint on Triumph. You know what I'm saying? Everybody after them had to crumble up some paper. I know it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you come out the booth with that shit, I'm like, oh nah, you ain't about to do me like that. You understand what I'm saying? So it's
that's
like
the
a certain kind of
people gotta understand, man. Music is about a feeling. That shit is not about sound. It's about feeling. So it's like if I'm feeling one way when I made the record and I send it to you, and now when I by the time you get it, you in a whole different mind frame. How's the record gonna sound if it's two different feelings being put into the record, two completely different feelings? It's gonna throw off the record somehow. If you're in the same room with somebody, you're not gonna be making a happy-go-lucky record if they're depressed
right,
or if they mad
right.
or if they're going through it. So I'm just saying all that to say, I think that that art has been lost because of technology, man. Technology has stripped away a lot of the potential of a lot of great music because I think we
Mm,
give people the excuse now to say, yo, all right, cool, I'm gonna send it to you, send it back. And it's like, you don't know their reaction when they got it. They might hate this shit and they just doing it because there's money involved. But when it was in person, if somebody didn't like a record, you
right.
could see it on their face and you'd be like, all right, cool, you don't like this, all right, let's try something else. But because somebody's in a different state or in a different country, they just get in the email and they like, fuck it, let me knock this out for them real quick and send it back. It ain't even about do they like it anymore. It's just about, oh, this dude been on my back to do this verse. Let me just do it. You understand? Like, I just think in person just sets the stage for better music, man. That's just my opinion, but I feel like it's been proven through history that that's how it works best.
I know this is going to be like a crazy question. And you're gonna be like, how the hell you going to expect me to choose? But like, what was some of your most memorable moments as a producer?
Some of my most memorable moments. I know it's a lot of my most memorable moments have come later on in my career, man. I just think because when I was younger, I didn't learn to appreciate certain things because I thought they would always keep happening, if that makes any sense. You understand? Like, I was so young and accomplished at the time that I thought that it would repeat itself over and over again. So I never really clung on to any specifics, scenario situation. But now that I'm older, things that I remember is like I remember finding out I was gonna get executive producer credits on Wasted Talent. I just remember me and Jim sitting together
Mm,
and us discussing me and him doing a full project, like things that I dreamed about. You know what I mean? Like I've always wanted to produce a full project with just me producing and one artist. Even though
mm,
Diplomatic Community, I did 11 out of 15, I think it was. I always wanted to do a project where I helped control the arrangement. I helped I mixed it, I mastered it. You understand? Like that was a big moment for me because it just showed me that I can be a producer of a full project if I had to. And I know it sounds weird because I've done
mm,
so much work, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a boxer that's only been 10 rounds and now he got his championship fight in his 12 rounds and he got to prove that he could go 12 rounds.
right,
You know what I mean? And I
right,
just think knowing inside of
right,
yourself that you could do it is a different type of it's a different type of feeling because until you do it, you're never sure if you can. You know what I mean?
right.
And I think after El Capo came out and it got the response that it got, I realized that that was like the last stone to get turned over for me to prove like, all right, cool, like I could do whatever I want to do in this music game. So that was a big moment for me.
Yeah, that's crazy. So the whole gambit, you did the whole gambit from mixing and mastering and all of that. Like, did you always do those things, or or
Um,
was it specific to this particular project?
no, I always not always. I taught myself how to mix. Mastering came later on, but I taught myself how to mix because I was tired of waiting for engineers to mix records for me and charge me a bunch of money and then take forever. And then if I'm sitting in the studio with them, they
Right.
mixing for 4 hours, and I'm like, damn, it take this long to mix. And then when I learned, I'm like, these dudes is jerking me around. Like, I've mixed a record in an hour and a half before, and it sounds incredible. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in the studio with this dude for fucking 9 hours, 10 hours. He charged me by the hour, then he charged me for the mix. You understand? Like, I just think the more you know how to do it in this music shit, the more time you save yourself, the more headaches you save yourself, the better quality your musical sound. Because think about it, man. If I make a record, I make a beat. What I look like having another engineer mix it when he don't even he don't understand my sound, how I want the kicks to sound, how I want the snares to sound,
Right.
how I want the, you understand? Like, I know that because I made the beat.
Right.
So it's better that if I mix it than if some random engineer mixes it. So I just learned those things over the years, man. Plus, it completes your sound. Cause you might, like, again, you might make a dope record and the engineer might fuck it up by mixing it the way he feels. And I just don't want that to happen to me no more. So El Capo is the way I mix records from top to bottom. So you could listen, all right, cool. This is a Heat Maker record because he did everything to this. You know what I mean? Well, big shouts to my man Guru, man. Me and Guru went to college together.
That's a strong ass takeaway.
Guru's
Yeah.
a one of a kind engineer, man, a one of a kind person. That's like, he's a real good dude. And but I just want to let people know that I've known Guru for years, and he's always been the same type of dude. Good, just good energy and just about something. You know what I mean? I don't know how I sidetracked today. We was talking about engineers, but I just want to give him a shout out because I think he's a real good dude, man.
It's amazing. So I know I done kept you over the time that we agreed to, but final thoughts, shout outs, acknowledgments, anything you want to plug, social media, how people can get a hold of you for the beats, and you know, repeat how they can sign up for the courses one more time.
So my social media is pretty much just go to my Instagram. It's official Heatmakerz with a Z for heat at the end of Heatmakerz. So official and Heatmakerz with a Z. And it's for the class, you can hit me on Instagram and I'll direct you to my lawyer, Mel, who's she's handling the classes and things of that nature. But if you want beats, DM me. Just understand that the beats ain't cheap, so try not to waste my time like I wouldn't waste yours. And any advice, man, just work. Outwork your competition, man. That's really the only advice I got is if somebody's working 9 hours a day, find a way to work 10. You know what I mean? And that's the
Right.
only that's the only good piece of advice I can give you. Other there's no shortcuts. There's really no way to skip the line unless you get great advice and you can find a way to work smarter, not harder. But other than that, if you're a new producer, man, you should be putting in as many hours a day as you can because a dude like me who's established, I'm still putting in 10 to 12 hours a day. So, if I'm doing that and you don't have the accomplishments I have, you should definitely be putting more than that. So, that's my advice. Just work.
All right. I appreciate your time, my brother. All of the jewels, and it's definitely been a journey. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we can come back. We can chop it a little more. We get an
Yeah, million
opportunity.
percent. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for having me, man.
All love. Enjoy your day.
You too, man.
All right, we out of here, family. Peace.